I'd say, getting my first movie was like the most exciting thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
Likewise.
So Mermaids and Cuckoo's Nest.
I wish mine was more like Cuckoo's Nest. Jeez.
Welcome, friends and fans, to another edition of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And today, we are going back to the strange house with the even stranger family with two amazing guests from the Addams Family feature films, and now is the time for all of you in our chat room to begin typing in your questions for them. Immediately after this session, you will have the opportunity to talk to them directly through our private chat options, as well as shop our selection of personalized autographs, all of which are available now at GalaxyCon.com. So without further ado, let's open the vault with a combination 2, 10, 12, eyes, fingers, toes, and bring them out. Our first guest is an actress whose body of work includes Mermaids, Sleepy Hollow, and Speed Racer. Today, she joins us to discuss her beloved performance as the wonderfully taciturn Wednesday Addams. Please welcome Christina Ricci.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I am okay on my coast. How have you been this crazy year we've been having?
Oh, hanging in there.
Yeah. Hey, hanging in is the new awesomes. Thank you so much for joining here today. I've been a great admirer of yours a long time. As a matter of fact, I just showed my goddaughters the other day Casper for the first time, and they adored it. It still holds up very, very well. It's a very sweet movie. So awesome. Thank you for that. And they became fans of yours immediately after that. So I think they're watching today. Yeah. Our next guest is a multiple Emmy award-winning actor with a stalwart career whose credits include One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Taxi, and of course, the Back to the Future series. Today, he joins us to discuss his performance as the electrifying Fester Addams. Please welcome Christopher Lloyd.
All right.
Yes, sir. You're here. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful to have you here, sir. A great admirer of your body of work for many, many years, and I really appreciate spending this time with you, as I'm sure our fans do. And speaking of our fans, right now, they are in our chat room typing in the questions for us. In the meantime, to start us off, I would just love for you to relate how the Addams Family films began for each of you. How did you come about to these amazing roles?
You first.
Me first.
Okay. The lady says you first.
All right. Well, truth to tell, when I was a kid growing up, there was always a magazine that had Charles Addams cartoons in them, and often they were members of the Addams Family and Fester. So, and I really got into Fester when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. I brushed the pages, there he'd be, and that was pretty cool. So it was sort of out of a weird place that decades later I got a call about being Uncle Fester in the film. And I mean, what are the odds of that happening? So that's how it got started for me.
Absolutely fair. Christina.
Well, I was, I think I was about 10 years old at the time, and I was already, kind of a kid actor. And I didn't really know anything about the Addams Family, but I went to the audition, and my mother kind of gave me a little backstory. She was obsessed with it. And I auditioned, and then a couple months later, I got called to come back and audition again, and just how it happened.
As these things usually do. The first film was notoriously plagued with a lot of misfortunes, but I think it was certainly redeemed. Were you all surprised at how successful this film was? It seemed to have eclipsed the expectations of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely surprised.
Yeah. Well, it's such a great kind of story, and having the people we had to do it with, it was Raul Julia, Christina, it's just I felt when we were doing it that my image from of what the family was all about was happening right out in front of me. That the characters were all for real. It was happening. So
very much so.
I think for me, I just am always so amazed with how still to this day people love and relate and to these characters. And I don't know that anybody knew when they were making the movie how much this would mean to people. It's really incredible how dear people hold these characters in their heart, and how much it seemed to just resonate with people at the time, and still.
Absolutely. How soon was it when you began hearing words about the sequel, Addams Family Values?
I don't remember how that came about for me. whether there was rumors of it before we wrapped the first one, or whether I don't remember how I found out.
That's fine.
And I was young, so they didn't tell us anything. They just sort of called me, and then me and my mom would show up. But I remember being on set and not having heard that we were going to have a sequel, and then the sequel coming. Like for me, at 11, I was shocked.
And again, both of your characters in both the films had really wonderful character arcs. It's like Fester, your character, of course, discovering himself, and then finding love, and then that subplot, and Christina, of course, Wednesday Addams, being the one who suspected something all wrong, and then the summer camp and finding her first love. Again, it was absolutely just a ton of fun to behold. What's become your favorite memory associated with Addams Family?
Well, a memory that just sort of popped into my mind I remember the first reading where we all sat down, the cast, all of us sat down to read the script. And there was still some problem in the script. I don't remember exactly what it was. And somewhere like after the reading, the writer was there, and there was sort of a discussion about the solution to whatever the problem was. And they all came up kind of unanimously with, okay, this is what we could do, whatever. And that was pretty much decided upon. And then Christina kind of raised her hand, so to speak, and explained that this solution, and you were, I mean, not that you're not now young, but you were really young.
I can't even imagine how obnoxious that must have been. A 10-year-old totally like out of their place saying like, no, everybody who's gone to film school and has gone to college, you're wrong. I can't even imagine, but
yeah, and,
I did.
Christina explained that this was going to create further problems, this solution, and there was like a little bit of silence. But it worked out.
Angelica put me up to it. She was like, you say it. I don't know. I don't even remember that, but I have heard, I've heard that story before. All I can do is think like, oh gosh. But yeah, I mean, I kind of remember I remember the read-throughs. Yeah, but I don't remember actually telling people how they finished the script.
Right.
Oh my goodness! What's again? This is one of the films that I consider to be the cast to be absolutely perfect. It's just the chemistry you all shared, and the energy that Raul Julia brought to his role, and we still miss him even today. What was the experience like working with him?
Oh, Raul was amazing. He was such an incredible actor, but also such a hugely generous and dynamic spirit. Yeah. And so kind, and like, especially for us, for me and Jimmy, the little, the Pugsley, we were like these little kids on set. And sometimes, kids have like weird issues, or they get insecure, they can't function, and Raul would always sort of like sense when like I was uncomfortable or something, and he would take us, and like he would take me, and he would start singing with me and like teaching me Spanish, and like he sang opera on set all the time, and it was really like and it wasn't just that he was on set singing opera and showing off. He was really kind of making people feel comfortable and safe, and he was just the loveliest person. And he and Chris both taught me, I'm one of the few actors still, like, well, I don't know, not still, but a lot of, like, I wasn't trained properly. But I know from Chris and from Raul that you always save the take. Doesn't matter what happens, you save the take. You never break character until somebody else says it. And it's really this amazing thing that I learned from them because I did through practice and working with them, like I really, I can save a take. but they both, like, I learned so many incredible things from working with both of them. And Raul was just such a love, and I consider it to be one of the greatest gifts of this movie is that I got a chance to know him.
And that was such, up until that point, I had always known him as a dramatic actor. He had been in comedies, but he usually played the straight sort of sinister villain, and the passion and the effervescence he just brought to that role was just, blew us all away.
I remember something, I'm not sure it's entirely accurate. Wasn't there like a canal of Venice built as a set?
Yes.
Yeah. And I was in the gondola, and he was the guy that did that. And he was very, he could break into an aria, and he could do it.
It's stunning.
He had
a beautiful voice
or whatever. He could do it. And I remember that night we're in the gondola, and it's lit romantically, the whole Venetian, jive. And there would be a lighting adjustment, and he's up there with the car, and he'd break into an appropriate aria for the moment. What the hell? I mean, it was like so cool, so wonderful. And he was just so warm, really, really great.
And you bring up another wonderful point about this film is its technical expertise. The sets, the lighting, the design, cinematography, the costuming, and the makeup. Again, it created a wonderfully just visual pastiche that just, it must have been a wonderful set to work on.
It was great. Yeah. It was so believable.
Yeah. And for me being a kid, it was just like a fantasy land. I mean, the sets were so big and so intricate, and then there were rivers inside. And you know what I mean? Like, they were just the most. It was like going to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Kind of feeling. Yeah. It was so fun. Yeah.
Great.
It's funny. We had the Willy Wonka kids on a few weeks ago, and they expressed that same wonderment when they used the chocolate room. They're like, and they kept that hidden from them, so they didn't see it till the actual take they did.
Oh wow!
Yeah, absolutely. So, Christina, your look was pretty basic, but Christopher, you spent a little time in the makeup chair. About what was that like doing the transformation into Fester?
Well, it had its interesting moments because when I didn't feel like I looked like Fester. Normally, I'm kind of thinner than the opposite, and all of that. And I was concerned about the makeup because I had to be that round head. And so they worked out prosthetics for me to wear, and the makeup and all that. And they wanted to do a test, doing a scene between Raul and myself on the porch or whatever.
Yeah. So,
and I really didn't want to do it because I feel I wasn't there yet, and I was worried about, all those actor doubts, So, we came in and we did it. We shot the scene with the makeup and everything because they wanted to see that the makeup worked. As they planned. And then 2 or 3 days later, there's a call. and kind of serious. And, we'd like you to, Chris, we want you to come in. We want talk, you know. So, okay, and I show up to the offices, and there's a lot of folks in there doing something or other, and there's a guy dressed. He was friggin' Fester.
This is like every actor's worst nightmare.
He didn't have to do makeup. He didn't have to do anything. He just was. And then go back with Barry Sutterfield and Scott, right?
Reardon.
To look at the scene we did, and go to the screen when we look at the scene, and then Scott and I said, Chris, we just feel the prosthetics are taking away from your expressiveness. Whatever. So great relief, and the guy out in the room.
He was just delivering packages.
Was my stand-in for the movie. I remember him. So it all turned out happily ever after.
Outstanding. And my final question for you, for each of you, is just I'm reading the script and going through it. There must have been a lot of possibilities went through your head in your definition of the character. At what point did you feel like you had wrapped your head around Fester Addams and Wednesday Addams?
I don't know. It was early on that I felt it was pretty close.
You had defined it for yourself, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Early on. I mean, I went through an audition process, so I knew that what I had chosen to do for the audition was what they wanted, and I also was 10, so it wasn't really complex for me.
True, yeah.
Surprisingly.
Well, again, I mean, a lot of people hadn't seen that. Again, that wonderful. Again, I call it taciturn. That affectation you just gave her, which it was magical and in some ways unsettling if you caught the character's steely eye. And again, a very memorable performance. So absolutely. And now we are good to go on audience questions. So I'll ask Jude, our producer, to roll our first one. And this is going to come from Jeffrey. And he would like to know, what is your favorite line from either of the films?
Something ain't just popping up in my head so far.
I would have to say it's probably something from Joan Cusack's character, Debbie Jelinski.
Yeah.
Probably one of her. I mean, she had such iconic lines that I cannot remember one. I'm sorry.
I was a big fan when she had everybody tied up and going through her life story. It's like, I wanted Barbie Beach House, and instead I got the Dream House. Yeah. And the family was like,
Malibu Barbie. Yeah. Malibu Barbie, she yells. I wasn't Malibu Barbie. I was Ballerina Barbie. Yeah, that whole speech is amazing.
Yeah, amazing. I absolutely concur.
I think there's some line that people bring up once in a while, that in the scene with Raul dance, what's the name of that dance?
Mamushka.
That Mamushka, that's somewhere in there. I don't know.
Wait, he's talking about, we danced for Jack the Ripper, we dance and now we dance for you, Fester. That speech.
Yeah, it might be something like that.
That's cool. Mine, Dirty Pool, I like it. I'll always enjoy that one. Jeffrey, thank you. That was a great one to start us off with. What do we have next? And here's one from Joe. Did anyone play pranks on the set?
I was 10, and my co-star, my brother was, I think 9 or 10, and then on the second one we were like 12 and 13, and we would steal go-karts, the golf carts on the Paramount set. And he would crash them, and I would pretend I wasn't there. He was always getting in trouble for things that I did wrong. So I did a lot of that. There was a lot of like stealing of golf carts on the Paramount lot and stuff like that. But
fair.
No pranks, really.
Absolutely fair. So, Christopher, do you remember any jokes or shenanigans from the set?
I remember there was a scene with what's his name, your brother.
Jimmy Pugsley.
Mhm.
Huh? The
Pugsley.
character name?
Yeah.
Pugsley.
Pugsley. And I had dialogue to him, but he was easily sort of distracted when he had the close up reacted to, that he'd be looking over here, or he so it was a bit of a problem keeping his focus. And
He would get
Christina,
nervous. Yeah.
Christina off camera, I mean, just live on the camera, would make faces and do crazy stuff to keep his focus toward to the camera. And you you just stepped in to do that. You saw the problem, and you knew what had to be done to fix it. You did it, and that was kind of cool.
Awesome.
managing my brother.
Kudos on you for helping out a fellow actor. That's always an honor, Joe, thank you. Great question. And here's one from Amy, who would like to know, what was the most challenging thing about playing Wednesday Addams and Uncle Fester Addams?
Well, I mean, I think for me, I was young, and I wore a wig, and they like dyed half my hair, and then they would glue half back, and it was nothing compared to what Chris went through at all. But at the time, I think that was the only difficult thing for me. It was just getting used to sort of like having a wig on, and that's it, really. And the makeup, I wore a ton of makeup, and that was something I wasn't used to, but that's all.
Fair.
I just
go ahead.
Just to make them real, convincing, like the cartoon.
Yeah.
And my appearance had a lot to do with it, the costuming, of course, eventually the makeup. Just trying to find his voice, so to speak.
Certainly. Certainly, absolutely. Well, I think you both succeeded in that. Again, another trait of this film is the authenticity that all the characters have. It's based on a cartoon, but the characters and the film treats them like they're real people. They just are this way. And again, I think that gives it that level on the film, that believability and that providence. So, and Amy, thank you. Wonderful question. What do we have next? Here's from Peter. What is your spookiest on the set memory? You may interpret that however you wish.
I don't remember it being spooky ever, because it was just like fun and like a playground.
Yeah.
I just remember it always being fun.
When you know you're spooky, you don't know you're spooky.
Exactly. Like when you're crazy.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't have a particular one. I guess the graveyard scene maybe had some spookiness.
Well, there are all those statues and crypts of the mausoleums and the Addams family lineage. Yeah, absolutely. That Peter, thank you very much. Great question for us. Here's one from Brian. Ooh, is there any props from the Addams family that either of you may have kept?
I did not keep any props, but if I had, I would have kept. There was this wooden dinosaur on a leash that the prop people actually had me come in and name all my props and my dolls and toys. And I named this little like wooden dinosaur thing Lethal, and I would have kept Lethal.
Fair.
But I didn't.
No problem.
I don't have a memory. Maybe the gondola.
Taking the gondola. Sure. Absolutely. It'll look fun in the pool. Absolutely. Brian, thank you. And from Joanne, what is the best piece of early career advice you may have received from either a fellow actor or someone you were close to or admired?
On my first movie ever, I worked with Cher in Mermaids, And she told me that the most important thing was knowing what was going on your set at all times. She sort of taught me to have what we call set, which you're in the middle of set, but you could hear every conversation going on around you. And she taught me that it's so important to always know everything on a production and to try to gain as much information as possible so that you can protect yourself and act accordingly. And I thought that was like amazing. I was 9 years old when she gave me this advice. And it was really amazing advice. Very useful.
I would concur, absolutely. So, Christopher, how about you?
I can't remember. Well, a couple of things. I remember I did summer stock as an apprentice. I did summer stock later, but as an apprentice, and there was a older, experienced New York actor, and we would have a session where he would answer questions like, what should I do, where should I go, and all that kind of stuff. And he just kept saying, off and on, persistence, and I feel that's pretty true. You just got to persist. and be at it. There was something else, and now I forgot.
That's fine. Hey, persistence works fine. Absolutely. Joanne, thank you very much. That was a great question. And what do we have from Mrs. G? Did you improvise at all during the filming of either of the Addams Family films?
I did not. Everything Wednesday did was scripted and very specific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel the same. That we stuck to the script.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, Miss G, there you go. no on-set improvisations. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, from Jocelyn, what did you like most about your characters?
Well, I loved how much dignity Wednesday had. Even when I was a child, I think that was the thing that I loved about playing her, is that she had so much dignity and so much self-respect, and in a very quiet and resolved way. And I think that even now, I sometimes think about that and think like, she's almost a graceful child in many ways. So, yeah, I think that's what I loved, and something I still try to evoke in myself.
Fair. Absolutely fair.
Yeah, I feel that I feel like Fester isn't really evil. He's mischievous. He likes pranks. He likes doing, he's got a goofy kind of insane kind of humor, whatever. The mischievous part of it, I kind of feel that comes kind of easily to me, in a sense that I like it. I like to be mischievous. I like to mess around.
I think both those interpretations absolutely showed through both your performances, so I agree. And Jocelyn, thank you. Fine question. From Jonathan, who wants to know, what were you a fan of growing up? Either sports, music, what's your jams?
I'm a sci-fi fantasy fan. My first favorite movie was The Beastmaster. And I grew up just reading like David Eddings and, the more popular sci-fi and fantasy, Heinlein, all that stuff. And so that's what I was really a fan of when I was younger.
I don't. Yeah, just I like stuff that really excited me. Whatever drama.
Just whatever came around.
Yeah.
Fair. Absolutely fair. Thank you, Jonathan. Well, we have next from Michelle. Did you have anything specific you did to stay in character?
Did you have anything?
I didn't really, again, I was a kid. So for me, it was a much more simplistic approach to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just stay focused I was going to mention before that Vice, when I first started getting into film, because I started out in theater, is to save it for the close-up. Save it for the close-up.
The worst thing is now you can't tell when the close-up's coming.
Not that you take the master shot, you don't take it seriously. But I found that sometimes I get through the master shot, right? And I would go off. I mean, go to the craft service table. I'd be feeling so good about it. And then suddenly we got to go back and do the same thing, close up. And I'd be, oh my God. What did I do? I blew it. It's gone. But so you don't let up until you're wrapped.
Words of advice from a man of experience. Thank you very much, Michelle. And from Brandon. Oh, have you seen the new animated film? And if so, what were your thoughts?
I personally haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it either. I just don't see how it could even compare.
Fair, absolutely fair. I can't claim to have seen it either. It's on my list. It just hasn't emerged yet. So Brandon, check back with us maybe in a few months if we do this again. So, and from Jim, who would like to know, what movie or body of work are you very proud of that maybe did not get the recognition you thought it deserved?
I don't know. I don't feel I have a big one there.
I don't have one either. I feel like I've always been, nothing's ever stuck out to me as being sort of like, oh, I wish that had been more recognized.
Well, then, I suppose being recognized, what's something for your body of work that you do feel a special pride for?
Stalling.
I like making you go first. I could do it. I feel I don't know. I feel very proud of a lot, like some of the more dramatic like indies I've done. Like I was proud of Monster, and I'm not proud of what they did with this one movie, Black Snake Moan, but I'm very proud of my performance in it and the original intention for the film.
Fair.
I like this other movie I did called Ice Storm. I don't know.
Ice Storm tackled a very interesting subject. Absolutely. So how about you, Chris? Is there anything else besides Addams Family you look back on with special pride?
I do. The first film I got was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I've been trying to get into a film for years. I was in New York. I was doing theater and stuff like that. And I thought, some actors don't make the bridge from theater to film. But I thought perhaps that's what I'm at. And then they came to cast Cuckoo's Nest. And I went up to audition, and I got into it. And so that kind of sticks out in my mind, as the most important film. And working with incredible people.
Yes.
It was worth the wait.
One of the great cinematic ensemble pieces of cinema of the 20th century, by far. And I absolutely stand by that. So, Jim, thank you very much. Great question. And a reminder to our audience, if you would like to chat with our guests like I am now or purchase a personalized autograph, please sign up at GalaxyCon.com. And let's go ahead and roll another. And here's one from Paul. How do you think your characters, the Addams Family characters, would pass the time during quarantine?
Wednesday would just be making voodoo dolls. Nothing but voodoo dolls.
I don't know.
Zooming in to see how she's affecting people.
Exactly.
I afraid to think about what Festa might do. His craziness.
I would see Fester doing something non sequitur and crazy, like I'm gonna see if I can dig to China, something like that.
I don't know.
Maybe
He
but,
might try to. I don't want to bring politics into this, but there's somebody he might like to mess with.
that. I think I understand what you're getting to, and that works for all of us. So no worries. We got your back on that, Christopher. And Paul, thank you for that question. That was a good one. And there's one from Brian. Outside of the Addams family, who was one of your favorite or influential people to perform with?
I did a scene with Lou Reed once on a dolly track, crying and stroking his face, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, fair.
I guess, again, going back to Cuckoo's Nest, I kind of idolized Jack Nicholson before, so it was a real experience to work with him. And I did a couple of films, a film after that, and he was just so generous and so committed and fun to work with. But there are, there's some others, I guess. Yeah,
Certainly.
But that stands out.
Certainly, great. Thank you so much, Brian. Great question. Thank you for that. And from Peggy, what actor or actress would you want to work with that you haven't gotten a chance to work with yet?
I want to work with Tilda Swinton and Tom Hardy. Those are my choices.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there love to work with Christina again.
I know. I want to work with you again too, but they said outside of.
It'd be fun to see you guys on a not Addams Family non-comedy. You see you guys doing a drama or something like that. That's valid. It's absolutely valid. I would wonderful to see that. Peggy, thank you. And from Brianna wants to know, what was one of your favorite or most fun scenes to film from either of the two films?
I liked the ball dancing scene from the first one when I was little. That was really fun. And then when I was, for the second one, I really loved doing all the camp stuff because filming it, all of a sudden there were like 40 teenage kids my age. When I was like, I think I was 12 or 13, and there were all of a sudden all these like 12, 13, 14-year-old kids. And we were on location in a motel, and it was really fun. It was like being on one of those overnight school trips.
How long did the ballroom mamushka scene take to film? Do you recall?
Oh, that was an extraordinary scene. The dancing, the choreography,
yeah,
and the whole thing. There was another scene where all the cast was sitting in a chair, like in the basement of and we were all together.
The electric chairs?
Maybe.
Yeah. The Malibu Barbie scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, we are a family. We've been together for a certain amount of time, and we're all getting along. It's a real Addams family. It ain't made up.
Absolutely. Brianna, thank you so much. Great question. And what do we have next from Jonathan? What has been your most memorable moment to date in your entire career?
It's been a lot of. It's been a really long time. I don't know. There's been like so many things that have been huge and monumental, and I don't know. I mean, I'd say, getting my first movie was like the most exciting thing that ever happened.
There.
Likewise.
So Mermaids and Cuckoo's Nest.
I wish mine was more like Cuckoo's Nest. Jeez.
Mermaids is a very cute film.
No. Different genre, different tones.
Yeah. Absolutely. Maybe a share Bob Hoskins. Got to work with him, and what a talent that was. He's another one I miss greatly. So
yeah, and Christopher, you worked with him too, Bob Hoskins, Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
so amazing. What an incredible guy he was. So incredible. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Jonathan, thank you so much for that. I think we have time for one, maybe two more. Let's give it a try. Jude, what's next? From James. What character trait from your respective characters do you relate the most to?
I have a tendency to be very quiet and not talkative, especially when I'm trying to control whatever is going on. I have a tendency to be very composed because I have I'm very easily irritated. So I stay very calm.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little similar.
Oh, fair. How about you, Christopher?
I guess Festa. I kind of relate to, I don't know, certain kind of mindlessness or something. I don't know. But he brings out the kid in me to some extent, which I enjoy.
Absolutely. Well, we certainly enjoyed it on camera. James, thank you very much. I think we have time for one more question, so let's roll our last one, and this is going to come from Denise. If you could go back in time and give yourself some advice, what would it be? As the plane flies overhead.
I would. Oh, you go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
What? I just said a very general thing, perhaps being a little more aware.
I would.
I'll leave it right there.
Okay.
Be aware. That's nothing wrong with that. Sure.
And I would say for myself, I would go back in time and tell myself not to listen to anyone and not to read any of my press and not to read the comments and to be who I was and not take any constructive criticism, because I did a lot of that when I was younger and I don't think it's a good idea. And now you see where we are in the world, people don't have to be anything other than themselves. So
very much so. Absolutely concur. So, Denise, thank you so much. And GalaxyCon viewers, this has been my time with the cast of the Addams Family. Christopher, Christina, any final words for our audience before we go?
Bye, and thank you so much for logging in.
That worked, yeah. Absolutely so much. It has been my absolute pleasure to serve both of you. Once again, thank you for joining us here on the GalaxyCon virtual stage. Thank you to our audience for joining us today, and thank you for all your great questions. Until then, thank you so much for joining us. Until then, bye-bye, take care, and please keep washing those hands.